If you are from the Northeast and you pay attention to regional MMA, you are 100% going to know who my next guest is. But if you are not from the Northeastern part of the country, don't worry about it, but buckle up because we're going to take you for a ride. I have a very special guest with me today, and you guys are going to find out really, really quickly why I believe he is going to ascend to the highest level of mixed martial arts. And you're going to see this guy compete in the UFC one day. Joining me is Matt Caracappa. Matt, thank you so much for being here, my man. I've been really wanting to talk to you for a really long time.
What's up, bro? Thanks for having me.
Anytime. And I wanted to start off the conversation first and foremost talking about your brother, Nick. He was on my show only a few short weeks ago. He competed at Dead Serious 46, and it was an amateur title fight. Can you talk to me about that? Like, there's so many people out there that don't know about Nick. He's an amazing fighter. He's had to come through a lot of adversity, just like yourself, albeit for a different reason. But he went back out there and he reminded people why he's a very special fighter in his own right. What was that fight like for you, watching him going out there and competing?
It was definitely a proud moment. It's my little brother. I know what he had to go through. I went through similar shit, long layoff. So I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for myself, for the both of us, and my older brother again back in there soon. Get that momentum rolling. There was a time when our last name rang bells, and then there was a time when my older brother Phil was the only one fighting for a long time.
He went out there, he got a dub, and it's one of those things. It's like, watching your little brother go out there and like succeed and be great and do what he was born to do. That had to have like just been kind of a surreal moment for you, right? Like just being able to take all that in, because I'm sure there were a couple of questions not that long ago where he may not have even known if he was going to actually get back out there or not.
I mean, he fought a great fight, and like I said, it was a proud moment for him. It was the first fight that I was ever out of his before. I was always away for his fights for whatever the reason was at the time, but I think he's 3-0. So yeah, I missed his first two fights. So I'm sure it was important for him too. It was the first fight I was in his corner. You know what I mean? I'm sure he felt a little more pressure having me and my older brother there. So I was definitely happy for him. He fought a good fight. He fought against a tough kid. And like I said, keep that momentum rolling.
He did what he needed to do. He was able to bring a belt home to the family. I'm sure everyone was proud of him, and I look forward for him to make that walk again, which I'm sure he will do. But I want to like talk about amateur MMA and yours in particular, because I think you're a guy that has a lot of wisdom. You've been in this game for a very long time, and people can learn a lot from you about amateur MMA. Like, you are an undefeated amateur. You went out there, you crushed everybody, you did amazing, and you did what you needed to do to get to the pro ranks. My question for you is, if there's an amateur out there that's like thinking about going pro, is there a certain amount of fights you think that they should have? Are there certain goals that they should be trying to achieve before they go pro? What's your take on that?
I think every fighter is a little bit different as far as how many fights it's going to take you. But the one like piece of advice that I would give is like test yourself before you go pro. Go 3 rounds. You know what I mean? I understand sometimes it gets hard to get fights. That's how it was for me. But take your time. Like, don't be in a rush, because I had a 4-year layoff. I made my pro debut when I was 23, 27 now, and that 4 years off. No matter what the fuck happened during those 4 years, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I probably could have lost some fights during that time. You know what I mean? This is a fresh start for me. And I said it like once, and I'll say it again, is I can compete in the top 10 UFC right now. So once I get there, I'm going to skyrocket.
I think it's really important that people take their time. One of the other things that I would also say is you should be trying, if you're an amateur, you should be trying to fight the absolute toughest people that are in your area. Find the hardest fights that are out there for you. If there's an amateur champion, those are the people that you should be trying to hit up. You should be in that guy's DMs trying to fight that guy, because this is where you learn. You don't want to have to take a really tough fight in your very first professional experience. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to fight a bunch of cans and all of a sudden you're fighting a killer, and you've never done that before. That's probably not the way you want to go about this whole thing. Your story really begins. I don't really think about fighting with you. I think about a lot of people I know in my own personal life. I don't really talk about myself on this show. It's not meant for me. But you remind me a lot of people that I've known in my life that aren't here anymore or are in prison. What is your story? What is some of the shit that you've had to go through before you even had the opportunity to like make this walk? That story is really important, and I think it can give people a lot of hope.
I mean, yeah, bro, there's fucking a lot of shit. Some shit like legally that I can't even speak about. Like, you know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as like addiction, like over the past 4 years, like the people that know me, they know that in those past 4 years, that addiction wasn't the hardest thing for me to overcome. You know, the shit that I seen, shit that I've been through, the shit that I did, that's what led to an addiction. You know what I mean? That was a coping mechanism for
Mm-hmm.
the problems that I was facing in my life. So addiction was just a piece of that. That was like the at the time, there was a time where it was the solution to the problem. You know what I mean? Because I look back on it and I never say like oh, I wish I didn't do that. Like I can't believe I did that because at the time, like I don't know what I would have done if I didn't like have something to numb myself. You know what I mean? Because I was in just pain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Pain, regret, shit like that. And to, like that's what leads to addiction. It's not like you just pick up a drug one day. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm wild. I've always been wild,
Sure.
but I had a problem with drugs before. You know what I mean? I didn't have a problem with drugs until uh, like there was a pain inside me that was so great that I couldn't bear with it anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. One of the I know a fighter. I won't say his name because he told it to me privately, but I will just say I do know of a fighter, and he had an addiction, and he told me that he doesn't remember like his first 10 professional fights. He's like, my first 10 professional fights, I was high in pretty much every single one of those fights, and he won most of them. I think he went like 8-2, but he's like, I really don't remember a whole lot of it. I didn't even really train, not really all that much. I'd go out there, I'd hit my pads, do the bare minimum just to, be able to make the walk. And then he'd go out there and he'd knock guys out. And he was just like, so like that first part of my career, I don't even really remember. But then I got sober and it was like I'm taking everything in completely different. And now he's absolutely crushing everybody. He's still out there. He's still doing it. And he's crushing everybody. Like when you got sober, like did you see the game completely different?
I mean, like I'm going through that process like as we speak, bro, because
Mm-hmm.
I talk about it like it was so long ago, but it really wasn't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The last time I used it was October 4th. Like I got out of rehab and I relapsed the same day I got out. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was preparing for this last fight in rehab. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This was just it didn't happen overnight that like I would get clean, I would fall, I would get back up and and who knows, like I got to get through today, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that's all that I could really take on for the day, and then I worry about tomorrow when it comes.
Yeah, I think that's important that you're candid and you're so open and honest about it. It's a hard thing to talk about. And it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you need help, there are resources out there. Far be it from me to give people advice. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. But, if you're out there and you're struggling, I hope that you get the help. I wanted to shift gears, though. I want to talk about CFFC 116. That was a powerful moment, I think, not only just for yourself, but for so many other people that were out there. It'd been a long break in between your professional debut to this second fight. Can you talk to me like what was that moment like for you when you were able to walk out to the cage and compete after 4 years away from the sport?
Well, nobody even knows this besides my coaches, but 2 weeks before that fight, I was getting my medicals done for the fight. And mind you, like there was I had over these past 4 years, I probably had 5 fights, two official fights that fell through, like that contracts were signed. So so up until like the fight, like you know what I mean, nothing's real. And then 2 weeks before the fight, I was getting my eyes examined, and then the doctor tells me that I had holes in my retina, that I need to get a laser eye surgery right now, or and it takes 14 days to clear. And just so happened the fight's 14 days later, and he's like, "So you need it right now." And I can't even clear you until the day of the fight. Like you have to come back. So I didn't get cleared to the day of the fight. Like I had to go back to that doctor and get my eye checked, and I had to get fucking laser eye surgery. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't want to get fucking laser eye surgery. I was like, can I get a second opinion here? He was not if you want to fight. So like there was a lot of like up until the day of the fight, like you know what I mean? And then but then once like I was cleared to fight, the fight was over. I won this fight 3 months ago. I put in the work for this fight, you know what I mean?
So Matt, like you're talking about having to get eye surgery. You get eye surgery, like what is that like? Like are your eyes all bandaged up and shit? Like are you even able to train with all that stuff going on?
Then they weren't bandaged up, but my vision on my it was just my right eye that I had it on. Didn't come back for maybe 5 days or something like that. But I couldn't have any physical activity. So there was no sparring, there was no wrestling. You know, there was pad work and running. That's all that it was 2 weeks out of my fight, which it didn't really matter. You know what I mean?
I know this sounds hippie, but like a lot of like cosmic forces going into your favor. Like you're a New Jersey guy, like this fight is happening in your backyard. There's like a huge layoff. You walk out for the fight looking like the goddamn Terminator. Like I think everyone knew what was going to happen. That's a tough fight for somebody to have to take. And I don't know a whole lot about your opponent, but I will say this: I said the exact same thing to Nick because I texted Nick a little bit in the lead up to the fight, and I said this: I don't know who this guy is that Matt's fighting, but I have a 1,000% respect for this guy because he's going into a fight knowing that probably having a rough idea of just everything that's been going on. And there are a lot of people I feel that would run away from something like that. But he showed up and he made weight and he walked into the ring. And I have nothing but respect for that man.
Yeah. And that's something else that changed this time around. Like my last fight and all my other previous fights, I would get real angry before the fights. I want to fight my opponent. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I respected this kid before the fight. I respected him. I shook his hand. I dapped him up when I got in the ring with him because for the same exact reasons that you're saying right now. I seen it on his face when I seen him. Like he was there. He was an object that was placed there for me to remove. That's what it was. He was a chess piece.
Right.
And he felt what it was. He might have not known what it was when he signed the contract, but when he seen me, he felt it.
Reality happened really quickly after the opening bell rang.
Looked each other in the eyes. He knew what it was. He knew what time it was.
How do you learn from a dominant performance like that? You went out there, you didn't encounter any adversity. You were able to completely dominate the fight. You put him away in the very first round. I don't think that really surprised anybody. So, I think about martial arts, and we always try to find points of adversity, like, oh shit, well, I really learned this, or I wasn't expecting that. But you completely ran through the kid. I'll respect him. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you ran through the kid. There's really not, when you look back on it, when you have a performance that dominant, what is the takeaway from something like that?
You learn from the lead up. You learn from the obstacles that I overcame in the past 3 years. That's where I learned. And like I said a minute ago, the fight was won a few months ago. The fight was won a few years ago because I overcame a lot of shit. There's no opponent right now that they could place in the ring with me that's tougher than the battles that I fought. And like I said, addiction, that ain't shit compared to the other shit that I went through.
You're in the back room. Take me back there, what that's like. You hit the showers, you probably hear your phone fucking blowing up, getting a bunch of text messages and DMs and stuff. Did you ever have that moment where you let it sink in? You had an opportunity to go back out there and number one, do something that you were born to do. But more important than that, it was you got an opportunity that a lot of people never get. They either are dead or they're in prison. You're neither. You're able to go out there and perform on a huge stage. Do you ever reflect and think about that and think to yourself holy shit, it's been a journey and it's going to be a lifelong journey for me, but I made it to a point where a lot of people probably didn't think I would get.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt it when I walked out for the fight, and I felt it when I walked out the cage. There was something different about this fight. There was something different about myself. There was, I felt it. I seen it. It was almost like I was out of my body and I was watching myself perform. And you guys haven't seen nothing. You've seen 25% of what I'm capable of. As my career unfolds over these next 2, 3 fights, that you're gonna see that I'm really something special. You think that you've seen like something special, but you haven't seen nothing yet.
About what's next for you. I've been following you on Instagram for a while. You've talked about you got something cooking right around the corner. I don't know if your fight's public or not. I'm going to assume it's probably not, but you are suggesting that you're going to be fighting here pretty soon.
Yeah, I will be in the cage within 10 weeks. That's for sure. As far as the date or the location, I'm not exactly sure. It's really between like Parks Casino or Tampa. I'd really like to Tampa, but I'm waiting. That's not confirmed yet. So we're working right now, so we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a quick turnaround.
Location, opponent, probably both up in the air at this point in time. But for you, it's just a matter of maintaining the shape that you're already in, going out there, getting ready. When you are getting ready to walk in there for your third professional fight, like what is it that you want your fans, your supporters, and your family to know about as you're getting ready to make this trip and get that second professional win?
I mean, like just keep doing what we're doing. Like, you know what I mean? I've had it's crazy because I haven't fought in 3 years, and there's a picture from my pro debut after my first loss. It's like me and all my friends, my family, and then there's the same exact picture 4 years later. So we haven't skipped a beat. I have a big following, and it's just going to continue to grow. And as far as like my story, like one day when I really tell my story, that's what's going to bring the whole world behind me.
It is an amazing story, and I know like there are still a lot of chapters that we have yet to write, but what makes me most happy about seeing you out there is you are getting opportunities, and you give people a lot of hope. You don't have to be a fighter to get inspired by hearing your story. It's like, all right, well, this guy had a rough run, maybe made some mistakes, maybe fucked up a time or two, but made some changes and started putting shit together and started rewriting your story. Like many years from now, when you're an old guy, people are going to remember you for something completely different. Like they're going to remember you as like this guy that went out and like did the impossible, was able to have a meaningful career in MMA, and that has got to have that opportunity, to have that second chance. Like that's pretty cool, man. It really is.
Yeah. Bro, if I could do anything in the world, I'd be doing this. To me, this is better than being president of the United States. I do this shit because I love it, and I do this shit because I'm trying to get rich. And if I didn't think I can get rich fighting, I'd be doing some other shit. Because when I'm not fighting, I'm trying to get rich. That's the goal here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's the goal. I love competing. I love training. I love the martial arts. But as far as stepping in the cage and fighting for a living, who loves that shit? You know what I mean? You got to be fucked up in your head to really love that shit. I hate that shit. Mm-hmm. But I love what is possible from it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love the possibility of living like my dream. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm living my dream.
The really exciting part about you, though, is you're not even in your athletic prime yet. You're still a really young guy. You don't have a lot of ring time. You have the talent. You've shown the talent. You've shown the technique. Like you've shown all the things that I want to see from a fighter that can go on to achieve a lot of great success in that next level of martial arts. Is it possible? I would imagine it is. Like I look at the people in the 155-pound division in the UFC, and you start seeing a lot of names that have been around for a long time, but they're aging out, they're moving on. You can't fight when you're like 41 years old at a high level unless you're a heavyweight. I'm sorry, that sounds pretty shitty, but I'm just spitting facts here. It is what it is, right? That means you got a lot of people like the Tony Fergusons, the Conor McGregors, et cetera, et cetera. These people are moving on. And what does that create? It creates opportunities for young guys like you. You look at it, you probably see these 155ers going up on the Contender Series. That's got to fire you up. I don't see a huge degree of separation between you and those guys.
Oh, yeah. Forget the Contender Series, man. I'm looking at top 10. I'm looking at guys and I'm laughing because I'll smack the shit out of them. You know what I mean? I'm telling you right now, the minute I get to the UFC, it's game over. Because if somebody like that can get into the UFC with a mediocre talent, but a personality like he has and blow up, what's going to happen to me? You know what I mean? Because I got both. I got a bigger talent than him. I got a better personality than him. You know what I mean? when I get in the UFC, it's game over. To me, this shit is fun. Like this is what it is right now.
I can't wait to see it. 2023, you're getting the opportunity to get back out there in only 10 weeks' time. That's going to be really, really exciting. I wanted to give you a final shout out. I know that you have a lot of people that support you and help make things running. And those people don't always get the limelight. So if there are any like companies out there or sponsors, I want you to have that opportunity, Matt, before I let you go.
I mean, bro, the list is endless. As far as shout out to my family, my brothers, my mother and father, Dante, his girlfriend Grace, um, my teammates. I got a team. We're all gonna be stars in the UFC. Me, my two brothers, Eric Nolan, Luke, Jerry. You know these guys, and that's about it, bro. You know what I mean? That's like
I
keep us small, and we're going to the top.
I cannot wait. If oh, I wanted to ask you one quick thing before I let you go. For people that are interested, like number one, like are you trying to get people to come on board and like help sponsor you for your upcoming fight? Is that something that you're still working toward? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, and fucking shout out to like the my sponsors that have been supporting me. I'm wearing the hat right now. Balance. This guy's my fucking like a big brother to me. I moved out to California. He helped me out with everything out there, and he's still continuing to support me. Like local sponsors, I got like Terrace Bagels. They were my first sponsor. They're still sponsoring me, and yeah, I'm looking for new sponsors, bro. To be honest with you, like I'm trying to work as least possible. And that might sound bad, but like I'm putting in the work. I'm not sitting on my ass. You know what I mean? So when I'm looking for sponsors, it's to keep following my dreams. And there's gonna come a day like when hopefully I can pay everybody back because that's what I have in mind. You support me, I got your back for life. That's just how it is.
It doesn't sound bad to me at all because it's about being a full time fighter. And when you're not training and when you're not getting ready, that means you're spending time doing other shit that isn't aligned with where you want to be. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah,
Everyone should be trying to be a full time fighter. Nobody should be having to work 9 to 5. Like,
yeah,
fuck that. Like, you should be like in the gym 9 to 5. That's what you should be doing.
yeah.
So I know exactly what you mean. It's just an absolute pleasure to speak with you. I'm really, really looking forward to your upcoming fight. Thanks for being here, man. I hope that we can do it again very soon.
Definitely, bro. Thanks for having me, and we'll get another one in after this next victory.
Yes, sir. So, everyone, make sure that you follow my guy on Instagram. I'm going to go ahead. I will put his Instagram name in the description of this video. Make sure to check him out and have a blessed day.